a sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nancy Guitar. I almost forgot how to pronounce my last name.
I do it all the time.
Well, I was just thinking about my family pronounces it guitar, and English people pronounce it like more like guitar, something like that. So I was thinking about that earlier, and then I got it mixed up in my head. Anyway, audience, forgive me for that little bit. My guest is from Hope BC, and she's going to tell us about some of the things that are happening, and that's really a lot of things happening in Hope these days. So it's very exciting. So first time on the show, Megan Rains. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
For sure. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly.
It's actually Megan to Boekhorst. We connected through my work account. So yeah, I work for a company called Free Reign Associates. I used to work for a program called the Reigns of Freedom. So because clients find it more accessible to reach support workers through social media, we set up somewhat anonymous social media accounts so that we still have that boundary between clients, but can meet them where they're at.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, thanks very much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So tell me what's going to be happening in Hope this summer.
So this summer, Hope is going to be hosting their first ever Pride Festival, and we are going all out for the first one. We are having an entire month of events. There are 7 events in total, one for every Saturday during the month of June.
Nice. So, so let's start at the beginning. What events is happening at the first week?
Yeah, on June 1st, we're having our kind of opening ceremonies. We are going to be streaming these on Facebook. You are welcome to attend in person if you want, but it's more of a, speeches and a couple of photos. But what's happening that's truly incredible and really unique to Hope is we're doing a flag raising ceremony at the Hope RCMP detachment. I've been speaking with a few folks, and I always express to them, it is the strangest thing for me as a queer person to have one of the biggest and best supporters of our group be our local RCMP department.
Good.
We're always just kind of weirded out by it, but Staff Sergeant Dwayne Farland, who is the head honcho in Hope, he doesn't just say he's an ally, he is proving, he's walking the talk that he is an ally. And when the district voted against raising the pride flag at the district hall, Dwayne stepped up and said, okay, we'll raise one at the RCMP detachment then. And here we are. So we'll be live streaming that. And then the community is going to come together on Saturday, June 3rd for a community barbecue picnic, which is happening at the field at the corner of Douglas and Fraser. There's going to be some, again, speeches because everything needs a little pomp and circumstance. Yeah. There's no harm with that. There's going to be free hot dogs, chips and pop and drinks. We're going to have what we call Dorothy's Cabinet open. So that is a clothing swap so that queer and gender diverse folks can access free clothing that better represents their gender identity. And it's an opportunity to explore without having to spend any money.
Right.
I know for me, I'm non-binary and my pronouns are she, they, and I've been able to really sort of, through the clothing swap, try pieces that I wouldn't feel comfortable buying and having that opportunity to really sort of see, okay, do I feel comfortable in this at home? Do I feel comfortable going out in this? Does this feel like me? It's been a really fun opportunity to explore and play. And so we have a couple of other community fun things happening at that barbecue on the 3rd. And then that night, we are hosting a free concert featuring the band Queer as Funk.
Oh my God, that is so cool.
I know. Who knew Hope had such cool things going on, right?
Well, cool. For those who have never been to Hope, it really is a fun place. A little bit different. Normally, there's a lot of tourist things, but that I know a lot of that had shut down during COVID, of course. So it's really nice to see that things are happening for you, everybody there in Hope now again, and something I like to see that it's going different, adding something new, right? So good for you guys. I think it's wonderful.
between COVID and the floods, Hope was hit really hard.
Yes.
One of our main tourist attractions in Hope, the Othello Tunnels, still aren't open after the devastating floods, not scheduled or planned to be open for years still. So we really do need to sort of look as a community at what we can start doing to bring that energy and excitement back to summer in Hope, because is there anything more beautiful than a summer in Hope surrounded by the mountains?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's wonderful. I want to know how you personally, now I understand you said you're queer, but how did you get involved in these events?
I'm a person who has a hard time saying no. And when I get really excited about something and really passionate about something, I'm too stubborn to not make it happen. When we were first speaking, back in July of last year was the first time a few of us met and said, okay, are we going to start a pride organization, a pride committee here in Hope? We were saying, you know, we'll take it slow and small for the first year. Maybe we'll just do a little barbecue. And that steamrolled into a month full of events. So we are part of an organization called the Hope Inclusion Project, which provides anti-oppression, focuses on anti-oppression work. We have a few projects going on as a part of HIP, the Hope Inclusion Project. And when I joined the Hope Inclusion Project, I'm not sure if I was the first queer person to join or the first out queer person to join or the first I'm here because my focus. HIP traditionally looks at racial oppression, ending hate and racism. And so I'm a little blown out, but I'm still about as white as I probably appear on the screen right now. And so I wasn't sure where my place necessarily was on the committee, but with my background in mental illness and my background in queer work, we ended up organizing a small pride committee that has now grown to over 15 members, and throwing our first ever festival.
You know, I'm really glad to hear those things. Like, I'm not gay. I'm a straight person, but I just don't understand other people like me who want to protest or whatever, because whatever your sexual orientation is, I don't care who you are out there, it doesn't change my life, you know? So I really don't understand that. And I'm glad that Hope is doing something better for your community, it's for everybody in Hope, obviously, right? You know? So
everything is free. Everything is all ages appropriate. Everything is completely accessible to anyone in the community who wants to come. Even with folks who, I mean, as with any pride organization, we do hear from people who have some very painful words to say to a queer community. And with Hope, historically, the queer community, Hope, I think, has probably for a long time had a queer community that was closeted. Before the Pride Committee hosted our first event in February, I think most queer-focused events had been behind closed doors, in private Facebook groups, kept really quiet and behind the scenes, even in 2020, the 2020s. So there were a few things happening within the high school with the youth really trying to get more LGBTQ events and awareness, but I think especially the older Hope residents felt really nervous. I've heard stories of instances of grown adults during a parade in Hope a number of years ago. At the time it was called the Gay Straight Alliance, of the high school. So high school students were in a parade and adults were yelling homophobic slurs to children, to youth. So, it's been fearful for a lot of residents to be more publicly who they are, be more true to their identity, be public with their sexual orientation and gender identity, which is something we all have. Everybody has pronouns. Everybody has a sexual orientation. Everyone has a gender identity. So yeah, this kind of event being very public, being very, we're really getting the word out. And so we've gotten some comments, and it's been difficult to navigate. And now I don't remember where I was going with this, but I think that
talk about why people have such an issue with it. Like,
yeah,
people who are straight, who are not in those categories,
who are unaware.
Yeah.
My focus in those conversations, when I engage in those conversations on Facebook, I'm always focusing on who's reading this conversation. I'm not speaking to the person who has said that I am an abomination to the Lord. I am not speaking to the person who is telling me that I am pushing inappropriate things on children.
Children, yeah, I hear that one.
Children is the, buzzword. They again yelled homophobic slurs to high school students, but I'm not speaking to that person when I'm engaging with them. I know there's nothing I can say or do that's going to radically change their mind or have them treat me any better or any different. Yeah. I am speaking to the people who are reading these comments and afraid to speak up and afraid and seeing that and going, this is why I feel like I have to still be in the closet. This is why I'm afraid to come out. This is why I need to leave Hope as soon as I turn 18, because I'm a queer youth who cannot be true to myself in my own community. I am speaking to them to let them know that there is somebody out there who has their back, who's advocating for them, who they can come to, and is doing the work to make it okay and make it safer for them to be true to themselves.
And those people who are calling names and everything, one thing that really, really I find the most offensive thing is how they use their religion to spew hate.
And the irony,
yes,
if you don't mind me, the irony is our second best support, one of our other best supporters besides the RCMP station, is Christ Anglican Church.
Who knows? You never know.
Two of our events are happening on Christ Anglican Church property.
All right, good. But it's just so ridiculous, though. I'm sorry. I could go on a rant about it because it just bothers me so much. Like, I decided many, many years ago that I have 2 children and I have 2 bonus children. And I decided years ago that if any of them were anything other than straight like me, that they're still my children and I would still love them, period.
Of course.
End story, and I have in my family, I have someone who's transgender. They're still the same person I knew before I knew that they were trans. I have a young man who's gay. A nephew, a great nephew. So what? They're still that same person. Like, if people would just open their brains and stop using their religion to hate, then we'd live in well, anyway, that's my rant.
You and I could just snap our fingers.
Yeah. One of the things, like, I like the fact that you're doing these events. I've been volunteered a couple of times, like last year for the Pride Parade, and then I can't remember how many months ago, but there was a dance for.
I saw you at the youth dance. Yeah,
it was so, and I was able to be to volunteer there. It was so much fun watching these young people come in with their different outfits on. I mean, I just thought it was so wonderful. I loved it all. And there was I've forgotten the term for somebody who dresses up, a male who dresses up in female costume.
Oh, a drag queen.
Drag queen. There was a
Haley Adler was there. Yeah.
Yes. He's actually, they're going to be on my show. He's going to be on my show. I think it's tomorrow. Yeah. Anyways, the kids.
Haley is our drag queen for Drag Queen Storytime out at Hope. So
very good. So they were all around dancing with them. It was so beautiful. It was so fantastic. Do I call him or her?
So Haley is the performing artist name, Haley Adler. Right. Haley would use she, her pronouns. Kyle, who is the performer, they are non-binary. They use they, them pronouns primarily, I believe.
Okay. I sometimes, and I don't mean to be offensive.
It's a practice.
Yeah, I just never know for sure who's, and then we have on our school.
And it's always okay to ask.
Yeah, yes, that's what I like, is because they know where it's coming from. I'm not trying to be offensive. I just need to know how to address a certain person, whatever, And
just like we would ask, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. What was your name again?
Nancy. I'm Nancy, right?
You're not even
exactly
not even insulted, not a thing.
Exactly. And I listen, I have a hard time recognizing people all the time. So it's so embarrassing, especially when I do my show. But what happens is I'm looking at the camera. If I looked at you, I'm like this. So I don't see your face. I'm looking at the camera. Oh my God. So people sometimes meet me on the street and, oh, hi, I was on your show. And it's like, oh my gosh, tell me again who you are. But I use my age now.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm 75. I'm allowed to forget. So there you go.
I just say I have ADHD. Nothing sticks.
Oh, well, that's a good one. But it did, even without this, I do have a problem. I need to see people quite often before I recognize them, because I have my social anxiety when I'm out in public, like sort of cuts in, and I don't always look at people, right?
Yeah.
So it makes it difficult. Anyway, that was off on a tangent. When I I know Chilliwack here is opening up more and more, and like we have Terry Westerby on the school board, which is absolutely wonderful. I think that, as far as I know, the first transgender person that's ever been on city council, on the school board, which
first trans person ever elected to public office in Canada.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, I had no idea. And I love Terry. He's such a wonderful person, and if people would just get to know, would take the time to sit and talk to somebody who is gay or whatever way you want to identify yourself, just sit and have a conversation, and we just realize that they're just people like everybody else, right?
Yeah. So I love, because I'm usually very straight passing. I kind of get to, so which means that a lot of people would look at me and not assume or not identify me as queer. Okay. So I get to be in a lot of conversations with folks who have no idea, and then I get to reveal that card of like, still the same person you were talking to. Doesn't always is interesting how it might change the conversation.
Yeah, it's really, but we have to stop judging. I mean, especially those Christians who quote the Bible. If you believe in all the Bible and everything, it says they're not supposed to be judging. So why are they, like whatever.
Did you know? So as a fan of history, I learned this before I was a LGBTQ advocate. The part in the Bible where it says man shall not lay with man, which is what most Christians will quote when they say that being queer is a sin. Yeah. It's a translation thing. So the Bible, way back in many years before English language was even conceived of, was written in, memory isn't serving me which language, but it was originally the intent. Yeah. The intent of that line was man should not lay with man in terms of children. It was about men should not, or humans should not have sex with children.
Right. Okay.
And through translation, it turned in from like boy, child, into just man, and became, because translation is not an easy thing to do. And when something is translated into several languages, meaning changes.
And also I had read, and I don't know if that's true, but it was translated in English in secret. So that's another thing I have an issue with. How do we know? Why was it a secret? What was left out? What was put in that? I have issues with it, period. Yeah. But anyway, gosh, we got off on this whole new tangent. I love this. That's what I love about doing, interviewing people, because you just never know where the conversation is going to go. So let's remind people about some of the events that are taking place in Hope starting in June.
Yes. So you've got the barbecue, you've got the concert. The next weekend, we are back with a full edition of Dorothy's Cabinet at Hope Mountain Brewery. We have 6 giant bins of clothes. We can't bring all of that to the barbecue, but it's all coming on Saturday, the 17th, I believe it is, at Hope Mountain Brewery. We also have a really secret, super awesome surprise happening that day. So you want to pay attention to our social media for that. And then the following week is Drag Queen Storytime happening at the Hope Rec Center, featuring the fabulous Haley Adler. She will be reading a selection of stories from the Hope Inclusion Project's Together We Thrive anti-oppression curriculum that we're developing. It is one day will be through grade 12. Right now we've developed about kindergarten to grade 4 curriculum. It's a literacy, a book and learning based curriculum to teach anti-oppression and inclusion and diversity to students.
Mm-hmm.
And so she'll be reading books from that speak to not only diversity in terms of racial identity, but also queer identity and disability. It's a broad ranging curriculum. And then the following week, the last week in June, the 24th, we have Rainbow Painting Day. So we are painting outside of Yale First Nations band office. They have a rainbow sidewalk that needs a little TLC to get it back fresh and vibrant. And then Christ Church is donating a bench for us to paint rainbow, and it will be installed in the church garden for all to enjoy, which is, again, mind-blowingly phenomenal to have such a strong, supportive church walk the talk again.
Yeah.
Their minister is an openly queer man. It helps to be connected and is a member of our committee, but it doesn't diminish the impact and the symbolism of having a pride bench at a church at all.
Sure.
Especially for those there are many queer Christians, which is why we're also having a pride service at Christ Anglican on June 25th.
Wow. Oh my God. That's so exciting. It really is exciting.
Yeah, it really is.
So now if somebody sees, hopefully they'll see this and they want to know more, or how to get in touch with things, or whatever they need to know, how would they go about that?
You want to find us on Facebook. We're Hope Pride, facebook.com/HopeBC.pride. Our Instagram handle is also HopeBC.pride. Or you can reach us at hopebc.pride@gmail.com, I think is the email. We're a very, very new committee. In fact, in our first picture for the newspaper, we held our pride flag backwards. So we're still figuring some things out.
I like that. That's kind of fun.
So we're accessible. You can reach us on Facebook, you can reach us on Instagram. We have a website. I never remember what the website is. I think it's hopepride.square.site. And it's got every event on it as well.
Imagine if you just put in events in Hope too, right? If you just would Google that, wouldn't it be there as well?
Probably. I think if you Googled Hope BC Pride, Hope and Pride are two common words, too common to be found just on its own. But if you have Hope British Columbia Pride, you'll find information on us in the Hope Standard. The Hope Standard has been an amazing partner in sharing what we have going on. You'll find our Facebook probably, and you might find me talking about it in various places.
Very good. Yeah. Well, we're going to end it there, but stay on camera. I just want to say goodbye to everybody. But before I do, get out to Hope and just go out and support the community. Just to be like, make sure people, sorry, go ahead.
It's a 35-minute drive down East Highway 1.
Lovely place.
And it's a beautiful drive with next to no traffic. I actually live in Chilliwack. I did it every day for 2 years. It's a great drive. You can make it.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. And just take part in somehow or other. Just take part. It won't hurt. And you know what? You just might enjoy it. You just never know, right? Take care, everybody. And I'd like you to subscribe to the show. I'm begging. No, I'm not begging. I just would like it. It would be nice. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching, and take care and peace out. Oh, I can't find the off button. There we go.